Hello friends, welcome to another edition of our special talks, and today we want to discuss the issues of regional connectivity, counterterrorism, how regional countries of Central Asia as well as Afghanistan can work together to bolster counterterrorism cooperation as well as cooperation, economic cooperation and trade connectivity. For this we have Hamza Boltaev from the Institute for Advanced International Relations, Tashkent. We are very happy to have him here in Islamabad today. Welcome, Hamza.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, let's kick off the conversation. My basic question is about Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is an important member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, one of the founding members. How is it dealing with the security issues? And so when we talk of security, that means basically a lot of talk about terrorism, counterterrorism. For us in Pakistan, the references of Islamic Movement of Uzbekistan, the opposition group. So how is Uzbekistan dealing with that issue?
So basically Uzbekistan, since 2016, they changed the posture and the security-related policy when it comes to Afghanistan. So before 2016, during the previous government, Uzbekistan's main concern, let's say, with regard to Afghanistan was the security issues. And now, after 2016, we've changed a little bit. The Uzbek government changed its policy towards more having economic to find economic opportunities in relation to Afghanistan. So, Uzbekistan, the government of Uzbekistan currently prioritizing not just security-related issues with regard to Afghanistan. Just finding economic opportunities also is there, and trade relations, then trade corridors, logistics within the current government's the foreign policy towards Afghanistan are the most paramount the areas to look forward and explore things.
So primarily a change in the paradigm of engagement, that not only security but also economic cooperation.
When it comes to the issue with regard to ISKP and Islamic Movement of Uzbekistan, yes, of course, terrorism and extremism and other trans-boundary issues, trans-boundary crimes and other things are important for the government of Uzbekistan. And Uzbekistan is of course concerned the increase of terrorism and extremism in Afghanistan. If you look at the latest reports made by the respected the governments and centers, so the issue, terrorism and extremism related issues in Afghanistan, within the boundaries of Afghanistan, are somehow increasing. So those issues is going to be on the table in relation to developing the foreign policy of Uzbekistan towards Afghanistan.
Let me clarify. What is the view of Uzbekistan on the Islamic Movement of Uzbekistan? Is it a genuine militant group or just a proxy terrorist organization, just as the ISKP?
So the Islamic Movement of Uzbekistan, you say, just in Uzbekistan, among the expert groups and the government, they say Islamic Movement of. So the general concern about these terrorist organizations. So it is very difficult to really assess what they are for, and compared to other terrorist groups and terrorist organizations. But I think, in my view, that the Islamic Movement of Uzbekistan almost the same with other terrorist groups when it comes to threaten. And
So would you say that they are basically two sides of the same coin?
I'd say with the differences, of course, because they basically used to be based in Afghanistan, their forces, and some back when the terrorism issues were on top in 2015 and 14 and 16. So we heard some news about giving a support to ISKP by Islamic Movement of Uzbekistan. But now the general concern and the concern with regard to terrorism issues in Afghanistan is, of course, Islamic, I think the ISKP.
But would you say there's enough cooperation among the regional countries, particularly those who are members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, on how to counter these transboundary terrorist threats?
I think we have rooms to further develop our cooperations. And in order to have a fruitful and resultful cooperation, we need to explore the other platforms that we're doing just right now. The more experts, we need to just welcome other experts from other regions, not just around Afghanistan. So we can go on further to further develop.
So there's room, you are saying, there's more room for evolving more cooperative frameworks to deal with the threat of terrorism.
And the room should be further developed into civil society organizations, because they are also part of solution, I guess.
Okay. Now, you said the Uzbek government changed track from security also to economic cooperation, which is extremely important, very positive. How would you describe, since 2016, how has the government tried not only to engage Afghanistan but other countries, and if there is any footprint of China as well, as far as the development infrastructure projects in Uzbekistan are concerned?
The question you're asking is very important, because as I mentioned earlier, since 2016, the issue of terrorism and extremism, generally speaking, the security-related issues are there on the table. We're not forgetting, and we're not saying it's solved and done issue. But at the same time, there is the issue with regard to developing the cooperation and trade relations and other issues, giving more opportunities and seeking more opportunities is becoming more important, is becoming more relative issues. So I think Uzbekistan, the government of Uzbekistan, as other governments who has a boundaries with Afghanistan, they don't recognize officially the Taliban government. However, it has never prevented to have the meetings, to have pragmatic relations, trade relations and other relations with Taliban. So if you look at the data, actually for several reasons, for trade reasons, for economic cooperation and the logistic corridors, Uzbekistan and other Central Asian governments' relations with Afghanistan are increasing, despite there is no recognition.
So that's a positive sign that almost all the countries are trying to engage with Afghanistan despite non-recognition. But if you look at, once again, at the regional connectivity and the security landscape, would you say that Afghanistan basically remains a big stumbling block as far as regional cooperation on terrorism and on trade is concerned?
Very difficult and very important question. So I think, in my perspective, I don't think Afghanistan is a problem or a block on developing and finding and exploring prosperity and exploring new things. I think we should, I personally look at it as an opportunity. Why? Because if you look at the Afghan Taliban government is currently building, constructing the canal that extracts water from Amudara River. But if you look at the Uzbek government's position, Uzbekistan government is not saying that you need to stop it, or we're gonna do anything we can do to not continue this construction of this canal. What Uzbekistan's government is saying is just having a cooperation, helping to construct the canal in modern canal building techniques. And thirdly, Uzbekistan government is saying basically, so let's regulate water using. As we know, Afghanistan is not the part of the general water regulatory system of Central Asia. So in order to use the Amudarya water, we need to regulate it and then put the quotas there, and based on these quotas, so let's use the water. So I think it's a positive and constructive approach to develop relations with Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm. And how is the Taliban emirate, the Taliban regime responding to that?
Actually, if you follow the meetings, Uzbekistan government last time, if I'm not mistaken, April of 2023 visited, and that was the second visit to Kabul, specifically for discussing the Qosh-Tepe canal. And the representative of Taliban government officially said that they welcome any cooperation to construct this canal.
Mm-hmm. So that's a positive. So they are very open. That's a positive sign, and that the trade cooperation as well as water could be basically a good connector, not only between Uzbekistan and Afghanistan, but also between other neighbors of Afghanistan. And that is one way of taking this multilateral engagement forward, in a way helping Afghanistan, the Afghan government deal with its economic crisis, as well as then creating conditions which satisfy the neighbors as well, which basically address the concerns that the neighbors of Afghanistan have from the presence or reported presence of a number of terrorist groups. So that as a whole is a positive balance that Hamza Boltaev has drawn as far as Uzbekistan's position on terrorism, on trade, economic cooperation is concerned, and that augurs well, I think, for the region if this cooperation, bilateral or multilateral, continues. Thank you very much.